Hi there. Hi, Jarnail.
Hi, Mark.
How are you doing?
Yeah, good, thank you.
Good, good. So, welcome back, everyone. Jarnail's here from Microsoft. This next session has two parts. Three parts. First of all, we're going to hear about Soundscape and some updates from Jarnail, and just a demonstration of the amazing power of Soundscape as a tool. Then we're going to have a session around 5:30 with a panel, an international panel, talking about accessible social smart cities. And then at 6:15 we've got a short session about a recent winner of the Tech for Good BT Young Pioneer Award, who's created an incredible stir and a really lovely story about the work that we've been doing with her. So, but first, you, Jarnail, are going to be showing us about Soundscape, and we had this discussion. I'm just going to tell people that Teams is in mono, and so I think what we're going to do is share some links afterwards so we can enjoy the magic of the 3D sounds. But I just thought I'd mention that at the start to people because I know that's a key part of what Soundscape is capable of, is the 3D binaural sound.
So I think it'll be interesting to see how some of the videos that we've got actually play out. But talking to the tech team, they're confident that we might be able to get some of the content streamed through in stereo. In which case, as I start the presentation, one of the key sort of little call-outs is if you are listening and you've got access to a headset, then please do try it on with the headset, and hopefully some of that stereo or the binaural aspects that we've got embedded into the videos will also play through.
Cool. And also, just to back up, the belts and braces is the links will be in there for us to go off and enjoy afterwards anyway. I'm going to go and get my headset. I'm going to enjoy it, and I'll speak to you at the end. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you. So right, here we go. So hello and welcome. As Mark said, my name is Jarnail Chudge. First, to describe myself, I guess middle-aged male, kind of balding. I shaved my head this morning, so I have even less hair than I did yesterday. Hopefully that's useful information to help you build up a bit of a picture of who I am. So Soundscape was actually a project that we started here in the UK a good few years ago, and is initially originated out of a partnership with the Guide Dogs organisation, who were particularly interested in looking at how technology could improve or provide greater mobility and independence for people who are blind, low vision. And what I hope to do in the presentation over the next 20 minutes or so is to demonstrate Soundscape and how, through the audio augmented reality experience that we create through its sort of innovative 3D spatial audio, ultimately helps make the spaces and places that we live in and inhabit and go through more accessible, more interesting to everyone. And as I go through this presentation, then I wanted to start off with a quick sort of level set that worldwide there are in the region of 300 million people who have blindness. And I guess at a relatively conservative estimate, this number is expected to double in the next 15 years or so. And we know that unemployment in the blind and low vision community, for example, in the UK, is approaching 70%, which is incredibly high. Information also sort of tells us that approximately 8% or so use a white cane or a guide dog in, I guess, what we would term the developed world. And then the developing world, that actually falls to less than 1%. And of those, yes, less than 16% actually use any form of technology at all. And we know that it's well established, well proven, that there is a direct link between sight loss and general reduced well-being, resulting in higher levels of depression and anxiety. And one would have thought that by now, technology would have made a material difference on this curve, but it is still elusive in many ways. So when we talk about Soundscape, ultimately, I hope as part of this presentation, provide a bit of a sense of how Soundscape seeks to address this challenge by really addressing a broader opportunity. and how it has the potential to turn a headset into a three-dimensional audio display that ultimately enriches your awareness of your surroundings. And in doing so, not only helps those who are blind or have low vision attain that greater sense of independence, but ultimately how it can benefit people of all abilities through this technology that enhances awareness in tasks that require our attention in particular ways. And so, for example, when you're out and about with your child on a walk, when you're traveling on a bus, so normal, common, everyday life activities where ultimately we seek Soundscape and the technology that we're using to seamlessly blend into your experience. It's not the main character. It's not taking center stage, but you as the person are able to do that which is important and matters to you. And to start off with, this is a pretty sort of dense slide, but it talks about how accessibility is a responsibility, and this is certainly something within Microsoft that we take very, very seriously indeed. But equally, it's a very big opportunity as well, particularly when it comes to thinking about how we can take innovations that ultimately have the potential to benefit everybody. I think you've probably sort of heard by now that worldwide there are over 1 billion people who have one form of disability or another, and many of whom benefit from the use of assistive technology. But only a very few number of that 1 billion actually have access to the products and technologies that they need, which means that it's really difficult for people to be able to participate in society, in economy, and life in the way that they would want to. And how through accessible technology, we can really allow them to participate in that way. And equally, we know that up to 70% of disability can be invisible. So we don't always know what may be a challenge for the people around us. And of course, we're well known also that this is something that has the potential to affect all of us at one point or another, whether it's temporary, situational, or permanent, that comes into play at any point. So from a Soundscape point of view, the origins of the work actually lay in a quest that was posed to us when we started working with guide dogs by the CEO. And it really came down to how can we use technology to empower people to be more independent, to be more mobile, but in a way that has the potential to be useful and beneficial to everybody. And that actually is going back to 2012. And on the slide here, we've got a couple of images from the vehicle that we developed at the time to think about the Soundscape technology in particular. And I'll go into that in a little bit more detail. But the initial vehicle was a concept video. And back in 2012, when we started this, we then had the opportunity, courtesy of sponsorship and investment from Microsoft leadership, to start to build a virtual V team across Microsoft, but then also external partners here in the UK. The likes of Tesco, Network Rail, Barclays Bank, First Great Western, whole host of organisations that we collaborated with very closely, including the Smart Cities Catapult, to really think about the range of different environments in which people need to move freely and independently. And at one point within Microsoft, I think we had about 150 collaborators working with us that ultimately helped us take what was initially an idea or concept to today, what is Soundscape. So what is Soundscape? Well, essentially, I used the phrase before of three-dimensional audio display that lets you build a rich awareness of your surroundings. By literally letting you hear what's around you, by having those call-outs come from where they actually are in relation to you. And this technology relies on the fact that as human beings, we have two ears, each of which receives auditory information slightly differently because of the distance between our ears. And it's this capability that allows us to localize where a particular sound is coming from. And we do this naturally, innately. It's something that we just pick up literally from birth. So, for example, with Soundscape, when I'm out and about, when I hear a call out, about a bus stop and it's over there to the right, I know that's where it is in relation to me. If I hear library over here to the left and slightly ahead, I know that's where it is. And if I then turn, it's me, the person who's mobile and who's turned in the world. Those objects or those places of interest have stayed where they are. And now, when I receive those call outs, the bus stop may actually be ahead of me, and the library or the other point of interest may be behind me. And that's where I'll hear them now. And it's this ability that we have to be able to associate where things are in relation to me that naturally and effortlessly allows me to build up that mental picture of the space that I'm in. And perhaps the best way to illustrate this is through a very short video, which I'm going to play now.
Hello and welcome. We are going to demonstrate how I use Soundscape. I have my friend Emily here with me.
Hi there.
And my guide dog Trevor. You're going to hear and experience Soundscape in the same way that I do through these headsets. So let's go.
Facing north along 101st Avenue South.
So Emily, where should we go?
I heard there's a place called Local Burger nearby. Would you like to try it?
Let's do it. I'll set a beacon to it. Now I can hear the beacon over in front of us and to our right. That's where the Local Burger is.
Excellent. That beacon's really helpful as I can't see past these trees.
Fantastic. So let's go there.
All right.
Instead of step-by-step instructions, Soundscape lets me hear where the destination is so I can make my way there.
Main Street.
We're coming up to an intersection here.
Goes right. Crossing.
Here's the crossing. Listen to the traffic. We're safe to cross?
All right, and it's safe to cross. Franz
Do it.
chocolates.
Hey, here's Franz chocolate over there.
Oh, perfect. We should set a marker there on our way back.
Now I can hear the beacon loud and clear on my right, so we'll turn right.
Facing north along
And
Main
here
Street.
it comes right in front of us, so we know we're walking straight towards it.
Foreign Plaza.
On Main Street and straight
Fast
towards
over
the
here later
beacon.
today.
We're going to start hearing it coming on our left as we get close to the Local Burger.
Joseph Jewelry. Gilbert's and Main.
And
Beacon close by. I can see the door.
here we are. Fantastic. Emily, thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you for listening.
Brilliant, thank you. So that was Amos and Emily in the team. Amos being my co-partner in all of this from the very beginning. And when we think about how Soundscape works, we've on this slide got this very top-level diagram that helps you understand there's actually quite a lot going on. So essentially, Soundscape as an app on the iPhone uses the GPS and sensors on the phone to determine your location and the direction that you're facing. And it pulls the information from the map. So when we describe Soundscape as a map delivered in 3D audio, that map information comes from OpenStreetMap, which is a crowdsourced repository, and also Bing Maps as well. And through this information, we're able to generate, I guess, what we call a 3D audio stage, and that's presented to the user through a stereo headset. And it changes in real time based on the user's movement and the direction of gaze. And this headset becomes really a key component to having this experience. And Soundscape actually works really well with any reasonably good stereo headset. For the blind and low vision community in particular, I think headsets that are non-including, that don't cover your ears and block the ambient environmental sound, are obviously very important. But a range of different form factors and devices out there generally work pretty well. And of course, some headsets that allow the tracking of head movement to take place creates a much more dynamic, a much more fluid experience, which then allows us to more dynamically create the sound stage based on where you're actually facing and where your head is turning. So when we talk about how and why we came upon using Soundscape in this particular way, on this slide there's a series of photos from research visits that we carried out a good few years ago, which meant it underlies the importance of getting out into the real world with real people and seeking to understand, right at the very point of the experience, exactly what's going on. And through this process, identifying these gaps, these possibilities, and the opportunities. And it was during one such research visit that we came across a fountain in a courtyard, actually in the Temple Inn area of London. And on reflection afterwards, Amos and I were thinking about how the fountain enabled us to get a sense of where we were in relation to it, even though we couldn't see it all the time. But because of the sound of the fountain sometimes being ahead of us or to the side or behind us, we always kind of knew where we were in relation to it. And this essentially is how we came upon the idea of using sound to build up this mental picture of the space that you're in. And of course, like any design-centric methodology, we then went through this sort of process of workshops and storyboarding multiple times to really hone in on those key parts of the experience. And we produced this concept video. And on this slide here, I've got a number of different pictures from that concept video where it's entitled A Family Day Out. And we show Bill, who's the central character, blind, organising a family day out, but in a range of different environments, from a picnic in the park to doing some shopping, making the way around a busy train station, etc. One of the other artifacts that we also produced was a script, and this was really important because it enabled us to think about what's really important, both in terms of the characters that we were creating, but also how we wanted to represent the technology and in particular the experience that technology helped to create. And that was a pretty new and interesting exercise for us to do. On this slide, I've got a couple of pictures which I think were really critical in helping Soundscape come to fruition from initial concept idea, because we actually built a hack around it. So in order to create this soundscape, what we did is we took some big gamer headsets, we put some sensors at the top that allowed us to determine which way a person was facing. Those sensors were then attached to a small PCB, which was inside a Cadbury's biscuit tin, which was then tethered to another person holding a laptop. And through this, far from scalable, very Heath Robinson hack, we were able to actually create a virtual soundscape. And through that, gain a lot of confidence in the viability of the technology. One of the things that we learned from this, and I'm sort of speeding up in the interest of time here now, one of the things that we learned through this is when you design with constraints but do so in a very human-centric way, we give ourselves the opportunity to come up with innovation that has the potential to benefit everyone. And just carrying on with sort of detailed research activities, one of the key insights that we had from the early parts of R&D in the field was essentially around how can we move away from the current paradigm, which is all about having to learn routes off by heart, to one where true empowerment consists of a person's ability to be able to travel independently, where they want to and how they want to, without relying on anybody else. And the key thing here from a Soundscape point of view is that we moved from being actually quite prescriptive in the guidance that we provided to being descriptive, which in turn enables a person to just naturally and intuitively start to build that mental map of where they are and what's around them. And key to our experience and design philosophy is that awareness of your environment that then allows you to be really present in where you are. And as a project, as a technology, we continue to look at how we can take this technology and extend it in useful, interesting, and meaningful ways. So we're always looking at ways that we can refine this audio experience and that balance between speech and non-speech as a way of enhancing that person's experience and the variability that we can sort of allow for each person to create for themselves. Currently, we're, as I said, only available on iPhone, and we do plan to release to more countries in 2021. At the moment, we're available in the UK, US, Canada, Australia, Sweden, France, and as of a couple of weeks ago, in Brazil. But our intention is to make this more broadly available in the coming months. We also built, using Soundscape, a Skyview visitor experience at the Skyview attraction in Stockholm, which essentially takes Soundscape's core capabilities and allows a person, when they're atop of the Ericsson Globe and have these amazing panoramic views of the Stockholm skyline, to engage with these points of interest in a really immersive way. So, for example, Soundscape can guide them towards where the royal palace is, and once they're there and they're facing in the right direction, we auditorily transport them there, right into the middle of the courtyard, and they can, as the changing of the guard ceremony is taking place, they can sort of hear the people behind them, the horses, the trumpeters, as if they were there. And it's a really interesting way of audio AR connecting us to places in a very different and immersive way. We also continue to spend a lot of time thinking about how we can take this technology and create more empowering experiences. And I'm just going to play a very short video of a hack that we did where in a two-person kayak, the blind person at the back of the kayak was actually guiding the sighted person at the front on where these virtual beacons were on the water.
Smiling and full of joy, coming back to shore.
So much fun!
Really appreciate the whole Soundscape team having all of us out today. I'm happy to be a part of a movement, and that is to help all of us live more independently and full and rich lives.
Oops. Finally, I'm just going to talk about a feature that we released in the latest release of Soundscape called Soundscape Street Preview, which is no more than a couple of weeks old at the moment. And this allows you to virtually explore your neighborhood or any part of the world, really, from the comfort of your own home. And this was something that really came to the fore as a result of the pandemic and the restrictions that it imposed on, on everybody. And in particular, how it impacted the blind and low vision community and the ability of people to go out, but also to work with orientation and mobility instructors. But ultimately, we see this as an experience that has enormous potential for everybody because it allows you to virtually explore, as I'm hopefully this video will be able to demonstrate to you, any place in the world.
Explore and get a sense of any area in the world with Soundscape Street Preview. When on a location page, select the Soundscape Street Preview button to gain a rich sense of the street layout in 3D audio. You will be virtually transported to the middle of the street next to your chosen location. Using your phone as a pointer, the street names are called out as you turn. When facing the street you want to go down, tap Go to advance to the next intersection. At each intersection, you can use the phone again to choose which road to go down, or explore your immediate surroundings using the familiar Soundscape buttons along the bottom of the screen. And now from the search bar, you can start beacon guidance to any point of interest, explore the area in richer detail, or change your virtual location. For example, let's say you want to preview the street layout around the Notre Dame Cathedral in Paris, France. From the home screen, search for Notre Dame, and then from its location details page, you select the Soundscape Street Preview button. For the best experience, we recommend that you stand up and turn in place, and use stereo headphones. You can slowly turn your phone in either direction to hear the street names at each intersection. Let's say you want to hear what the walk will be like from the Notre Dame Cathedral to the Pont Neuf metro stop. You do this by going to the Explore Nearby button to search by name or filter for a list of public transit locations nearby the virtual location. Once you have the metro stop selected, you can start an audio beacon in your virtual experience. You will return to the Soundscape Street Preview homepage and now hear the beacon sound providing 3D audio guidance towards the Pont Neuf. If you press the Go button, you'll hear information at the next intersection.
Approaching intersection.
Rue des Eglantines, goes left. Rue des Pavoyans, goes right.
Soundscape Street Preview is best used to get familiar with street layouts and explore places.
Really excited about.
So please, take some time to play and experiment with the Soundscape Street Preview feature. Enjoy and have fun.
So we're really excited about this new feature. The feedback that we've had on it so far has been absolutely amazing. Now, in closing, the ultimate sort of ambition that we have for Soundscape is the potential that it opens up for audio AR and its ability to really create an eyes-free and heads-up experience for everybody. And on this slide here, we've got a couple of images which depict this. The first one is of a busy intersection where there's a lot of people crossing the road. Everybody is literally heads down, looking at their phone, not paying attention to what's going on around them. To the second picture, where we have no device in play at all, but the person is sort of heads up, they're interacting with the technology, and they're having the information delivered to them by sound. I'll finish there, and any questions, any comments, any feedback, then please do reach out directly to me, and thank you all for your time.
Thank you, Jarnail. That's fantastic. I did get it to work. You're right, it does work. So that went out through Teams in stereo. So I don't know how many people had their headsets ready, but I was sat here diligently listening in. It is fantastic, isn't it? And it really brings it to life, the whole 3D experience. So it's fantastic. I just wanted to check. I saw that it was on iOS. Is it only on iOS at the moment?
Currently it is, yeah. And as you can imagine, we got a lot of feedback from all over the world, in fact, asking when is it going to be available on Android. So we're acutely aware of that, and it is something that I can't sort of commit to any dates or timeframes, but it is something that we are aware of, and something that certainly we plan to address in the future.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much for joining us, and congratulations. It's a fantastic piece of work anyway, and it's great to see it updated and moving on. So thank you.
No,
thank you very much.